Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe high net worth individuals and their professional teams struggle to clarify great capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way to exit highly appreciated assets tax deferred so you can create, preserve, and grow your wealth. I'm your co-host, Pierce New York, filling in for Brett Swarts. We are on expertcresecrets.com. YouTube video on Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel. We're live there. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. It helps us out tremendously. Our next guest is awesome. He's got more than 17 years in the franchise business. He's a certified franchise expert. He's done multiple businesses as a serial entrepreneur, and we're going to get a ton of value out of him. So please welcome Eddie Rodriguez. Eddie, how you doing, man?
How are you? Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eddie, just briefly tell us, what is a franchise?
What distinguishes a franchise from a startup business is it's an already established business. It's also validated, meaning there are other successful owners already operating that business around the country, probably around the world. It also comes with a ton of support. So whether it's technology, marketing, operations, or otherwise, you go back to your market to launch your new franchise business. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. There's a corporate entity that can help you get your best traction and give you your best chance at succeeding. That's why over 80% of franchises that open today, on average, are still around 8 to 10, 15 years later, versus around 17% of startups that are only around for about 2 years.
Sure. So the difference is that we're going to get a bunch more support. We're going to get a bunch more established systems and processes. We got a proven model.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Most successful franchise owners in America are military veterans because they're taught and trained to follow systems, or their life is on the line. The only reason that I tell all of my clients to consider exploring franchise ownership, and people have many. I work with private equity groups that want to mitigate risk and realize that the stock market's a little iffy the last couple of years. So they realize that franchise ownership does mitigate risk precisely because they are already established, validated, there are systems in place. So they have a greater chance of succeeding. If people want to do their own thing and want to reinvent the wheel, don't explore franchise ownership. That's my best advice to anyone that's listening today.
So if you're not going to follow the system and you're not good at following a proven path, go be an entrepreneur.
Correct. Don't do it. I mean, at the end of the day, the real value in investing in a franchise opportunity is the fact that somebody came up with the idea. Someone has spent years perfecting it. There are people there supporting that model with marketing, operations, technology, all kinds of support to help you succeed. Why would you want to reinvent the wheel?
Gotcha. So I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but what's the number one secret to being a successful franchisor?
As a serial entrepreneur who's created and built multiple businesses in my lifetime, the best advice I ever got from a mentor of mine many, many years ago is there's really no secret sauce other than hard work. A lot of people think that investing in a franchise is a slam dunk. You can just show up, turn on the lights, and you're going to make a lot of money. Franchise businesses are like any business. They come with a much greater chance to succeed. But when you launch it, you have to work hard, focus on what the franchise group has already trained you to do, and get after it. So there's no real magic bullet to being successful with franchises, no different than there's no magic bullet to being successful with your startup.
So hard work, discipline. What's the second secret?
Utilize a very important resource that comes with franchise ownership. There are other owners in that business around the country operating the business, and it becomes a family. They are there for you to call,
Mm.
gain knowledge from. If you hit a hurdle and you want to call, I don't know, somebody that owns that same business in Charlotte, North Carolina, or wherever, there is a book that's very handy. It's you can call anybody, and they are there to offer you their experience and how they're operating the business successfully. So that's a secret. That's a big secret. You're not alone when you build a franchise business. You have a corporate entity and other owners already operating that business that you can tap into.
So you also buy into a network of people
Correct.
that are doing extremely the same thing that you're doing essentially, and they're able to mentor, guide, lead you, problem solve with you certain, situations and challenges that arise.
Yeah, I mean, to that extent, even when I'm working with clients, one of my biggest advices as they are exploring opportunities that I may present to them is make sure that you validate yourself, these businesses. Ask the company to provide you with the names and contact information, and legally they must do that. All franchises are regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, and franchise companies must facilitate for you to be able to talk to other owners within the system. And what I tell my clients is talk to somebody that's been there for years, talk to a top performer, talk to somebody that's kind of performing okay, but not great, and ask them whatever you want before you invest $1 of your hard earned money.
What makes a franchisor and a franchisee successful? And what makes them fail?
Respect for each other. The franchisee needs to respect that the franchisor knows what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while. They're supporting other owners. So from the franchisee's point of view, don't try to outsmart people that have already done it longer than you have. They've already hit the hurdles that you might encounter in the future and know how to overcome those. Franchisors, a good franchisor is one that truly delivers on the promise to support. It's not just, yeah, we're going to support you, but they are there to actually support you, whether it's site selection, lease negotiation, if it's a brick or not, mortar opportunity, help you find leads, help you with staffing, training, you name it. That's a good franchisor, one that really steps up to support the franchisee to give them their best shot at succeeding.
So it sounds like when you're looking at a particular franchise that you may want to step into, you need to really vet the operator as well.
Yes, I insist with my clients. I have certain clients that fall madly in love with an opportunity that I present with them. And sometimes they just, I'm ready to go. This is it. I've always dreamed of this. I don't need to call anybody. I find that to be a mistake. At the end of the day, if you are given the ability to talk to other owners already operating that business, why wouldn't you want to tap into that knowledge set that all of these people have so that you clearly understand, listen, this is the way it goes. Pre-opening, while you're open, what you need to do to really operate your business successfully. But the old saying is sometimes you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And I've had many clients over the years that have not heeded my advice and jump right in and don't do the validation calls. I think it's a mistake.
So when you're talking through this process with people, how do you see the correlation between your kind of like advice to them and them following it and them being successful versus not successful? And I guess the question really comes down is, why do people need an Eddie Rodriguez?
I think you asked me a good question a minute ago about one word, what does it take? And I told you hard work. because I've created and built 4 businesses in my lifetime, successful businesses. I know what it takes. I know what the hurdles are. I know what you need to do and not need to do as you launch and build your business. I also am affiliated with the largest and most respected franchise consulting group in the industry called IFPG, International Franchise Professionals Group. We have a portfolio. We work with a portfolio of over 540 of the best franchise brands in the industry. I tell my clients that I don't have a dog in the fight when they come to see me. I'm not a broker that represents a few brands and I'm trying to sell people. I don't have a sales background. So what I do is listen carefully to people's lifestyle goals, financial goals. Do they want it to be a legacy business for their kids? Do they want to move from where they're living and go somewhere else? So once I clearly understand what people's goals and motivations are, short and long term, that's when I do a deep dive into the portfolio to research. And usually I pick out maybe 4 or 5 opportunities that check off all their boxes. And that's when I present it to them.
So tell us a little bit more about the franchise Tailor and what you guys do.
Yeah, what we do is we talk to a lot of people that are either upset that they just got laid off or are still working, but either want to kill their boss or just fed up with the rat race of corporate America, where they feel like they're swimming upstream. We also work with very successful people that want a second income stream and are a little edgy and nervous about keeping their money just in the stock market, and have learned that there are really good passive and absentee franchise ownership opportunities so they can derive a second income stream. We also work with private equity groups. We even have a division of my company at the franchise Tailor that works with visa clients, people that want to come to America legally and obtain either their E2 or EB5 or L1 visas so they can move to America legally and operate a business in America. Franchise ownership is a good vehicle that immigration lawyers like for them to consider because they're all registered with the federal government, all these franchises. So there are a lot of different clients that I work with all the time. I don't have one blanket kind of mode of operation other than to listen very carefully to what people want and, most importantly, what they don't want to do next. And my job is to at least try to get them to a place where they explore opportunities that make sense to them. And who knows, worst case scenario, I might introduce them to something in the marketplace they didn't even know existed.
Sure. So when you help people consult through the process, understand their goals, get them to find something they may want to invest in. You mentioned some passive franchises. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if people, I sometimes, smile when I hear people, I can do this on my own. I'll just go on the internet. If you go on the internet and just Google franchising, you might get a migraine headache. It's a massive industry. And without working with a certified franchise consultant like myself, there are many good ones. It's like going into a vast, dark ether that you have no idea what to look for, because there are fully passive opportunities. There are semi-absentee opportunities where you can keep your current job and maybe work on, not in, but on. So we look for technology forward companies that provide you with proprietary software so you can manage your business from your computer and your phone and devote maybe 10 hours a week to study KPIs and work, directly with your manager once a week to make sure you're on top of your business, but you're not in the business itself. Those of us that have been doing this a long time know the portfolio of brands, know the different sectors, know what's trending in the marketplace, especially now post-pandemic, We even do territory and viability checks. There are certain businesses and sectors that work better where I live in South Florida than in Albany, New York, or vice versa. So we provide a major coaching service to people so they don't make a mistake and they have the ability to gather as much information of what might be a best fit for them or not.
Yeah, that's interesting. So when someone goes to exit a franchise, walk me through the process. Is there a market for it? What does that look like? Maybe some of the tax ramifications of that. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, that's a good question because a lot of clients often ask me, well, what happens if we want to sell and move to another state or whatever, wherever their life takes them. When you own your franchise in your market, it's your business. You can do whatever you want with it as long as you inform the franchisor. A franchisor is like your partner. They're there to support you. So if you decide that you want to sell your business because you want to retire and play golf or move somewhere, all you have to do is inform the franchisor. Exiting franchise ownership is actually oftentimes much easier. Why? The franchisor wants to replace you with another good new franchisee. So they immediately get to work and inform, for example, our network. Listen, there's this franchise that's been operating in Atlanta, Georgia, whatever. It's up for a resale. Please put it into your resale portfolio. The franchisor is motivated to help the owner sell their franchise, not out of the kindness of their heart, but predominantly because they want to secure a good new franchisee to take their place. I don't know if that helped answer your question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it sounds like there's a market for the resale of the franchisor. What kind of multiples are you getting on a franchise?
Well, like in any business, it depends on the actual business, but generally, whether it's one-time sales or anywhere between 2 to 5 times EBITDA, depending on the business and the margins. So from a resale point of view, it's very consistent with a traditional business model. And yes, there are a lot of resales. I actually get clients all the time that go, listen, I don't want to wait, to launch my business. Do you have one of these franchises that are already there, ready to go? So we explore a resale portfolio and introduce them to resales that are currently operating. And I just did a deal recently with somebody for a resale. Business was up and running. The guy was 72 years old, wanted to retire, and he was willing to stay on board for 6 months to get the new owner up and running. So yeah, there are a ton of resales in our portfolio. I think currently today, there's probably a little over 400 resales around the country.
How many of these franchise businesses come with real estate?
It depends. There are franchise brands in our portfolio that come with real estate, brick and mortar opportunities, for example, whether it's a fitness type business or a brick and mortar healthcare, like a physical therapy franchise, for example, beauty industry. There are a lot of opportunities in the portfolio also that are not brick and mortar, so they do not come with retail real estate attached. But yes, there's plenty of franchises in our portfolio that come with retail and real estate attached.
So when someone goes to liquidate and they're getting, 1 times, sales, or they're getting, 2 to 5x on EBITDA, tell me, what's the biggest frustration you guys have with the tax and doing a 1031 exchange with those?
I mean, honestly, we steer away from that. I always tell my clients that I'm not their CPA nor their lawyer. So, my advice to clients that are interested in a 1031 exchange is to talk to their professionals whether it's their accountants or their lawyers. I try to steer away from those conversations with my clients. It's not my role, to be perfectly candid.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I was just asking because, a lot of the times we get these people that are trying to sell a business or, something in there, and they can't even do a 1031 exchange because of the business. So if it comes with real estate, you got to do gymnastics, and that's kind of why we're big proponents of our, of the Deferred Sales Trust, which allows you to sell any highly appreciated asset, a stock, a business, a franchise, real estate, whatever it is, and defer the tax, and then go ahead and reinvest the funds. So we always ask, what's the biggest frustration with that 1031 exchange, and how does that affect some of the clients coming into it, right?
I don't mean to not answer your question, but it's no different than, for example, I have clients all the time that go, hey, can you offer help with financing my new business? We work with very reputable franchise financing experts in the industry that have a lot of experience funding financing franchise ownership. So instead of telling them what to do, I direct them to the experts. They're the funding people. No different than somebody asking me about a 1031 exchange or tax ramifications or legal ramifications. I always advise my clients. Again, some of them listen, some of them don't. Before you review 150 to 200 page franchise disclosure document, and all franchises must provide candidates that they talk to legally with this FDD, the franchise disclosure document. If you have insomnia, pick one up. It'll help you get to sleep. They're all over 150 pages long.
Yeah.
Hire a professional, a franchise lawyer, to disseminate all the information. You're about to consider investing a good chunk of money. No different. Here comes the franchise agreement. You have a contract to sign because you're purchasing an asset, right? Hire a lawyer to take a look at that. So my advice to clients, as you can tell, is whether it's the 1031 exchange or contractual law or tax ramifications or funding, go to the experts. I like to use the adage of, if you have a plumbing problem at home, you don't call a dentist, you call the plumber, and vice versa. So anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's really sage advice, honestly, and try to not, do everything yourself. So if you guys are interested at all in, the little plug I just made about the Deferred Sales Trust, you can come to our mastermind every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Eddie, where can people find you?
Sure. They can find me. My website is thefranchisetailor, TAILOR.com. Simple email. Add my name, Eddie, EDDIE, at thefranchisetailor.com. Happy to speak to anybody that wants to explore what I do.
Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. You've shed a lot of light on the franchise world, a world that honestly I don't know too much about at all. So this was great, and I'm, we're just scratching the surface here. This goes so deep, and there's so many other questions that we have. I just, in the respect of time, we gotta get out of here. But Eddie, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any parting words?
No, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I hope I added value to all of those that are listening in today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for coming on. And thanks again, everybody, for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using proven tax deferral strategies such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way to exit highly appreciated assets tax deferred, so you can create, preserve, grow your wealth. Hiring experts like Eddie to help you make informed, wise decisions for franchises, and going to the experts. We're not calling dentists to fix plumbing issues. It's a great quote for sure. So thank you again, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Eddie, thanks again, man. We'll catch you guys on the next one.